Hola mi gente, welcome back to my channel. As you have read from the title, today is the story time, my PKD, aka my ginormous kidney story. Okay, so a little refresher. I am 41 years old and I have a certain disease called polycystic kidneys. It is a disease that if you have it, you are born with it. There is no way that you can cause it yourself. It was a mutation in cells. Usually it's genetic. In my case, it wasn't genetic. Nobody in my family has this disease except for me. But usually it tends to be genetic. If your mom, your dad had it, they probably passed it on to you too. So this is very new to my family. So we are all learning about this together. The kind that I have is autosomal. There's two variants. There's autosomal dominant and autosomal recessive. And I have the autosomal dominant, which I don't want to say that it's the most common of the PKDs, but in oh gosh, you can't even say that it's the better one. That's not the proper words, but I guess I should say that those that were born, because everybody's born with it, but those that were born with the autosomal recessive, their kidneys start to fail practically since the day that they're born. And these children have kidney issues, you know, as babies, as toddlers, as kindergarten kids. I mean, it's absolutely devastating for their families. Now, I have the dominant one, and usually you don't start seeing symptoms of this disease until you're in your 30s or your 50s even. For me, it happened exactly in my 30s. I believe I was 31, about to be 32 years old. One summer, I remember it was July 31st, and I got absolutely sick. And now the house that I have does have central air conditioning, but back 10 years ago, the house that I lived in only had the window units, and I only had one in my bedroom and in the living room. And well, I was freezing. And I'm from, you know, Californians say, oh, I'm from sunny California. No, you don't know sun until you've lived in South Texas. I mean, in July and August, they don't play any games. Like, it's scorching hot, and I was cold in a non-air conditioned house. That made zero sense. To make the long story short, I didn't want to go to the hospital because I was deadly scared of needles. But I ended up going eventually. So they put me on, I'm not sure if it was on antibiotics, but I know I just can't think of the word. I got fluids pumped into me, and I was feeling amazing. After being in the hospital for one day, I was so ready to go home because I was feeling so much better with all the fluids and the medication that they have given me. But they said, no, we're going to keep you a little longer. But they hadn't told me yet what was going on. I thought, well, why are they keeping me here? I feel fantastic now. I feel that I can go home. And the next day, a young doctor comes to see me, and you know, he grabs my hand, and you know, they're grabbing your hand. It's not going to be for good news. And he says, your kidneys are failing. And at that point, I don't know if he's explained that I had PKD or not, or if he told me about it, but I just remember being in shocked. I was shocked. I thought he was going to tell me I had high blood pressure or diabetes. Thank God I have neither one of those, believe it or not. Um, I thought they were going to say something that I maybe ran in my family, but kidney failure like that was unheard of. And I just began to cry. And I remember that day they said, well, you need to start dialysis right away. But I don't know, something in my spirit just didn't allow me to do that. And I don't know, I didn't feel peace about it at all. And I was telling my mom, I don't feel peace about starting dialysis right now. And my mom says, well, you don't need to. Let's go. And I told them, you know what? I don't want to get dialysis. I want to go home. And they said, well, I mean, you can sign off and you can go, but we're letting you know that if you leave and don't get dialysis, you're going to be dead in 1 year. That's how serious your condition is. And you know, I thought about that and it kind of scared me in a sense, but not enough to still get dialysis. And I still ended up going home. And for that 1 year, I kind of lived in a little bit of fear. I mean, not in fear necessarily of dying, because my heart belongs to Jesus. And I know if I die, I know where I'll go. But in the sense that at that point, my birthday was in August, so by then I was already 32. So all my 32nd year in this world, I was really, really nervous about what could happen. Let me lower this. Let me see if this works. Yes, so much better, right? So I so my 32nd year in this world, you know, I spent it a little like enjoying every moment. Like, this might be my last day. Like, every day I was thinking, oh, maybe this is my last day, you know? And once the year passed, I think I kind of let go of that. I'm like, okay, well, I already outlived, you know, the time they said that I was going to be with, the time I was going to live, you know, without dialysis. I already outlived it. So after that, I threw fear out the window and I totally forgot that I was sick. And in that time, I went back to school. I finished school. I preached every Sunday, every Wednesday, every Friday. I went to parties with my friends, with my coworkers, with my family. I kept busy. I went to concerts. I traveled. I did so many things during that time that I was without dialysis, and I was completely enjoying it, and God gave me favor. And you know, in my preaching job, I don't get paid. So at that time, I was working a secular job, and God gave me an awesome job with awesome people with awesome pay. I mean, I was like living it up. I was so enjoying my time. And finally, October 2018, which was 9 years later, 8 years later, I'm not good at math right now, but 8 or 9 years later, after I found out that I had the kidney failure, finally, things had gotten really bad. It turned out that it was my gallbladder, but at that time, I already accepted to start dialysis, and I've been on dialysis since October 31st, 2018. So this October will be 2 years. Now, to let you know how my experience has been, I have had a rough experience with dialysis. They attempted to do two different ports here, a graft and a fistula here too. but they were unsuccessful. I have very thin veins, so they weren't able to do that. So they said, we're going to try on your right arm. And I said, well, if I have small veins or thin veins on my left arm, like, can't we just assume, isn't it logical to think that I'm going to have small veins on my right? But the doctor said, like, no, this is going to work. So they did a massive surgery that almost took my life, honestly. It was really, really bad. And it was the worst pain that I've ever been on. And I have this beautiful scar here that, oh well. And okay, so these surgeries didn't work, none of them, and this one didn't either. So this catheter, I was only supposed to have it for 3 months, and then I was supposed to start using either the fistula or the graft, or this, I don't know what it's called, but since they didn't work, I'm still using the oh gosh, I get foggy head, so forgive me, guys. So I'm still using my catheter, and I've been using it for over a year and a half. And this is supposed to be used or so. So keep me in prayer about that. I just need to make sure that it doesn't get wet. Because I have been in the hospital about that too. Because just a tip, if any of you are ever starting dialysis, do not wet it at all costs. I know they tell you that you cover it up and you tape it up and you put bags over it. No, don't ever let water drip down where this is going to get wet. Wash your hair separately. Wash your body, but maneuver yourself in a way where this never touches water, and that is a best way to avoid getting infections. I got 2 infections because they said, no, of course you can shower, just tape this up, bag it up, and you'll be fine. And I was doing that, and I went to the hospital twice for an infection, which could be deadly. But after that, I've learned, and like, no, this absolutely cannot touch water.